Welcome in everybody to yet another Dynasty Fantasy Football video. This time we're going over the top 5 tight ends under the age of 24 for your Dynasty roster. Now, whether you're in a startup league or you're somebody that's already had an established league and you want to kind of go out and get some of these guys just to have some youth and some upside, you can definitely do that. These 5 tight ends may make you want to puke just a little bit, but again, we're looking at youth, we're looking at potential, and we're looking at some people or some pieces that could develop into something serious. None of these guys are top 5 guys right now, but they have the potential to being so. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first guy we're going to talk about is definitely going to be Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, number one. I know everybody says, yeah, he's garbage, he's garbage. The dude's an athletic freak. This offense has been absolutely putrid. His defenses has been putrid. He has had nothing on offense to keep him as a viable option. He does like to split out quite a bit and wide, so he's almost like a wide receiver for you. He can dominate smaller cornerbacks, and he's faster than linebackers. He has the potential of being an amazing number 1 tight end, even over Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, all these guys. He just has to have somebody that can get him the ball consistently. He only had 356 yards receiving last season, which puts him number 30 in receiving yards. He just needs a quarterback though. I mean, he can definitely be top 10 easy if he had somebody consistently throwing the ball. He's that freakish of an athlete. He's extremely athletic. He's fast. He has good hands. He just got to put it all together. He hasn't had the opportunity to really be great yet. And it lands him number 1 on my list. He's 22 years old. He fits perfectly in a dynasty league. You could probably get him pretty late because everybody just has a bad taste in their mouth for Kyle Pitts, and you could probably land him for a 6th or 7th round pick, and all of a sudden you might have a stud on your hands. You never know, but I would definitely take a leap at Kyle Pitts in your dynasty draft. So the next guy we're going to talk about is probably the best tight end that I have currently on this list overall in, let's say, redraft league. That's Pat Freiermuth. He's playing for the Steelers. They got Kenny Pickett at quarterback, and they had a pretty good rapport early on. He does have that top 5 potential. He ended up with 732 receiving yards last season, which landed him 6th in receiving yards amongst tight end, almost top 5 tight end in Pat Freiermuth. He's 24 years old, somebody who's going to grow to probably be even better with Kenny Pickett. Get him while he's hot because he's not going very high in dynasty drafts right now. You could probably get him later on in the draft, and you wouldn't be upset that you got this guy on your team. He's one of those set it and forget it type of guys because he can probably give you some pretty good production just depending on how the tight end position really is. It's very volatile, and you've got to kind of find these diamonds in the rough, and I think Pat Freiermuth really could be a diamond in the rough for you. He just needs more touchdowns. He only had 2 touchdowns in 2022. 2023 needs to be a higher touchdown rate for Pat Freiermuth, and if he can find those touchdowns with 732 yards receiving that he had, he could definitely be a top 5 tight end for you and your roster, especially if somebody you can get later on in your drafts. So the third guy we're going to talk about comes in at 22 years old. A lot of people probably don't even have him in the top 20 overall tight ends, but I do because I have faith in this guy. I saw him in college at UCLA. He had great hands. He's got the decent speed. He has what it takes to be a successful tight end. And that's, should I tell you? Yeah, we'll tell you. It's Greg Dulcich. This guy, I know. He's got the Broncos and he's got Russell Wilson, but you know what? They have Sean Payton now. And Sean Payton had another tight end who was young and who was the top tight end in the league. Who was that? Jimmy Graham, right? I'm not saying Greg Dulcich is Jimmy Graham type of talent, but he knows how to feed the tight end spot, and Greg Dulcich could be that guy. 411 yards receiving last season, landed him 24th in the NFL for tight ends for receiving yards. I mean, he's got the skill of Jimmy Graham, but he did miss 6 games, and he's that huge diamond in the rough like I'm talking about, somebody that no one even is going to be thinking about. And Greg Dulcich, I'm telling you, he has top 10 potential easily to be in your lineup, and you can get him way later in the draft. No one even probably knows this guy's name, but somebody you might want to be on the lookout for. I think he's going to have pretty good production in 2023. So the next guy we're going to talk about would be Cole Kmet. He's coming in at 23 years old, playing for the Chicago Bears. 544 receiving yards last season. Came in at 13th in receiving yards totally for all tight ends. He started the season with like a cockadoodle. Okay, I had him on my fantasy roster. If you guys watch my videos early on for starts and sits, and you guys know how frustrated I was with Cole Kmet because you just couldn't depend on him. When I finally dropped him from my roster, then he started actually doing something I don't understand. Maybe he knew that he was on my roster or something. I don't know. But you know, he's too dependent on touchdowns right now. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not going to do anything for your fantasy team. He should kind of grow with Justin Fields. Justin Fields was kind of developing as a quarterback. Cole Kmet, like I said, 23 years old. You can get a lot worse than Cole Kmet. So take a stab at him, and he could be something special for you if he continues to develop and be Justin Fields' #1 primary target. I mean, he does have Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool on the outsides. That's really nothing to shake a stick at. It's garbage, really. So, I mean, he's going to have to go to Cole Kmet often and early, and we'll see how that plays out. So that's another player you can get later on in your drafts. Take a stab at him, see if he can be a nice cornerstone for your team. So the last guy we're going to go over as 24 years or younger for the tight end position in Dynasty Football, we're going to talk about Trey McBride. Trey McBride coming in at 23 years old. He only had 265 yards receiving, landed him at 38th last season, but they did have Zach Ertz last year who did phenomenal, but with Kyler Murray missing some time, they're probably going to trade DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not sure how much they're going to put Zach Ertz out there this season. They may have say, hey, look, we got this young guy and trade McBride, who was the #1 tight end in his class coming out of college. Give him a shot, an opportunity to be the man. You never know. He could have a lot of targets. He can have a lot of yards. He's virtually going undrafted. You can pick him very, very late in your dynasty drafts. Somebody you be smart. You be smart to grab. He's got great talent. He's got the hands. He can make it happen and with the production he does. And you may be surprised. You grab Trey McBride and see what happens for you. But I know this was a quicker video over the tight ends. Not a lot to talk about, but I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the subscribe button and the like button. It would really help me out. If you guys disagree with any of these guys or want to comment on any of these crazy picks that I have right here, leave a comment down below. We can discuss it. And what I'll do is I'll probably put the wide receivers right over here so you can go ahead and watch that video. And I'll see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.